Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health, fresh back from a road trip. Park City, Utah, where we did 14 hours of video filming for an upcoming series of infomercials of sorts. Keep your fingers crossed. I'll tell you when those are going to be airing. Lots of stuff happening here in Longevity Nation. A lot of people picking up the ball here and fast-tracking Dr. Wallach's message of health recovery through science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition. Why? Because nobody knows what we know, and everybody needs to know what we know. And nobody does. I have an insider subscription service on my website, whether you're a longevity member or not. If you're suffering with a chronic health condition, if you're suffering with any type of a health condition whatsoever, honestly, even if you think you're healthy, you need to get a clue. Information is a life-changing phenomenon. I have over 100 hours of archived health webinars available for your immediate access right now on my website, drglidden.com. Click on the Become an Insider button. Sign up for my monthly subscription service. Cancel at any time, by the way, and you will have immediate access to life-saving information which explains in relatively easy to understand format the MD's interpretation of the process that drives your condition, right? How the MDs think about type 2 diabetes, what the MDs think about arthritis, what the MDs think about obesity and fibromyalgia and infertility, what the MDs do for it, why 99 times out of 100 that's just crazy, and then most importantly, what we do for it, what we recommend you do, and what we recommend you do in the context of this arena is not to treat disease. We don't treat disease here on the radio program. In my private practice I do, but not in the context of this radio program. In the context of this radio program, I recommend therapeutics you can start with immediately, the intention of which are to support and promote your body's ability to optimize its structure and function, and that it beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Here's an update for my radio show, emailed to me by one of my Dr. Glidden insiders. Teresa says, here's an update on my father-in-law that had a partial toe removal because a foot doctor going too deep while removing a callus. My father-in-law requested his medical records and went to see a lawyer. While looking through his records, he saw that the foot doctor had changed them. My father-in-law goes to the foot doctor every 2 months for a routine appointment of toenail cutting and callus care. The foot doctor had said that my father-in-law went to him complaining of a sore toe. There was nothing wrong with his toe when he went. It was about a month after the appointment that his toe became infected, and he went back to get some antibiotics for it. The foot doctor noted that on the return visit, the toe was feeling much better and everything was hunky-dory. The lawyer told my father-in-law that it would cost more to sue this guy than he would get, plus he would need to have 2 other doctors testify against the foot doctor, and that my father-in-law would have to pay them $15,000 each. How is that for our medical care system? Let's protect each other and screw the patient, or so the MDs say. So every chance we get, we're telling others not to go to this foot doctor, and the fact that he falsifies his records. This out of the great state of Iowa. I mean, that's just crazy, right? Isn't that just crazy? But that's the way that it goes. It's good to be king. When you are king, you can do whatever you want, and you can get away with whatever you want because, well, you are the king. And this situation stands in boldface. I had a good opportunity this weekend, a privilege, quite frankly, to hang out with Dr. Wallach for 3 days in a row. You know, we were right next to each other during the filming process. I was interviewing Dr. Wallach, listening to his answers, and we were having conversations about everything from soup to nuts, right, regarding medical care here in the United States, medical research, and, quite frankly, the delivery of medicine all around the world, of course, from the proper perspective, which is the holistic medical perspective. And we had some very interesting things came to light. It drove home to me more deeply than ever the simple fact of the matter that Dr. Wallach is brilliant. He's a genius. He is. Dr. Wallach's knowledge base about the pathophysiology of disease is unrivaled by any physician I have ever met. He won't admit to it, but I think Dr. Wallach has an almost photographic memory, if not a photographic memory. His knowledge and understanding of pathophysiology, right? His ability to look at a slide section of a diseased tissue and tell you exactly what it is. I mean, it's really quite remarkable. Dr. Wallach's the breadth, depth, and width of Dr. Wallach's clinical experience and also understanding of pathophysiology. I mean, it's Dr. Wallach is the man. No kidding. That's one thing that I really became a solid block in my consciousness now after these 72 hours. It just reinforced for me, spending time with Dr. Wallach reinforced for me his knowledge base and really made all of the doubts that I'd ever had about his perspective just vanish into the wind and disappear like a thief in the night. As far as I'm concerned, if Dr. Wallach says jump, you should say how high. Because, Doctor, I'm still waiting for him to be wrong. I am still waiting for him to be wrong about something. And, the day that I'm able to catch Dr. Wallach up on some pathophysiological thing, on some medical nutrition thing, that's going to be one of the proudest days of my life. Don't know that it's ever going to happen, though, by the way. But, we do what we can do, and we lift each other up and we move each other forward. So I must reinforce to my listening audience, if you're a fan of mine, appreciate it very much. I do what I can, and, I'm here for the duration. Because my skill set is being able to describe for people relatively, seemingly complex biological phenomena in easy to understand terms. But honest to goodness, if I seem tall to you, it's because I'm standing on Dr. Wallach's shoulders. Dr. Wallach is the man. My knowledge base doesn't even come close to his. I am quite fortunate to have the great opportunity to be able to mentor with Dr. Wallach over the last 4.5 years. What a wonderful opportunity. Doc and I were talking about cultural myths and how they perpetuate into the society, and it becomes reality by consensus, right? Everybody agreed less than 100 years ago that women were not smart enough to vote. Everybody was wrong. Before that, of course, childhood labor, that's a valid economic necessity. You can't have a thriving economy unless you put the kids to work. Everybody was wrong. And then before that, the earth is flat, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, pick your cultural myth. There are hundreds of them throughout the annals of time. One of the things that we're up against here, in addition to the ridiculous notion that the MD is the undisputed emperor of the field of medicine and that healing is a complicated, sophisticated process, both of which are flat-out lies, is another interesting myth that revolves around genetics and is brought to boldface with our understanding of Alzheimer's. Years ago, in his most famous audio cassette tape, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, Dr. Wallach made the statement that the symptoms of Alzheimer's, the symptomatic expression of Alzheimer's disease was able to be changed dramatically, noticeably, and measurably with the delivery of vitamin supplementation. And the article went on to say, well, Dr. Wallach, by the way, was quoting from this article, and the article was published, I think, by the New England Journal of Medicine or the Journal of the American Medical Association, I forget which. And then Dr. Wallach, because of his pathophysiological background and his immense scientific knowledge, made the conclusion, therefore, that Alzheimer's isn't genetic. Because if you can modify it with a vitamin, it's not genetic. Every state in the United States sued Dr. Wallach for propagating false and misleading information and trying to sell vitamins. Dr. Wallach, of course, was exonerated by all 50 states. But this isn't the point. The point is that this whole concept of genetics is what the MDs are using now as a scapegoat to make them look better than they really do look. Because their therapeutics have failed completely, and instead of revisiting their own position, their own point of view, instead of looking to their own house, instead of removing the mote from their eye, they attempt to remove the log from your eye, the log, by the way, which doesn't exist. So rather than blame themselves to take a real strong look at what they're doing, they blame you. It's not the doctor's fault. It's got to be your fault. You have the Alzheimer's gene. You have the obesity gene. You have the type 2 diabetes gene. You have the arthritis gene. You have the whatever gene, right? This is what they pass off. Everything is genetic now. Everything under the sun. And so it is with Alzheimer's. You can call up 100 medical doctors today and ask them what causes Alzheimer's, and they'll tell you it's genetic. There were 2 studies recently published, and I'll get you those references by the end of the show today. I forget where they were published, but very recent stuff. And they both showed that you could dramatically, in one case, 78% of Alzheimer's patients who underwent vitamin supplementation, I believe it was essential fatty acids, omega-3 essential fatty acids, 78% had remarkable improvement in their Alzheimer's symptoms, remarkable improvement in their Alzheimer's symptoms. And then there was an article, I think it was in Newsweek magazine a couple of months ago, 7 habits that you can do right now, 7 things that you can do to reduce your risk of Alzheimer's disease. Well, I thought it was genetic. If it's genetic, you can't manipulate it with diet or lifestyle or nutritional supplements, right? I mean, if it's genetic. So if you're telling me now that there's 7 things that I can do to reduce my chances of getting Alzheimer's, it's not genetic. And yet the myth persists because the medical marketplace is monopolized. It ain't nothing but bad news from the MDs, ladies and gentlemen. Stay tuned right here for some good news. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. So the basic rule of thumb here is, right, from the proper perspective, everything makes sense. Medicine, the way that it's delivered here, and really science, the way that it's delivered here is so closely embedded with money that it's hard for scientists to be objective, right? And, it's hard for cultures to change. It's hard for people who have devoted their entire life to studying a certain field all of a sudden to understand, well, we've got new information now, boys and girls, and the stuff that I spent my entire life advocating is no longer valid or true. So even when science moves on, a lot of people get left behind because they're just too cowardly in order to grasp the truth and, admit that they were wrong. And so it is, especially with this whole concept of genetics. So here's what I want everybody in the listening audience to do. The next time that a medical doctor tells you that your disease is genetic, I want you to ask him which gene it is. And when he can't tell you, I want you to also ask him, well, doc, if it's genetic, if my condition is genetic, if my type 2 diabetes is genetic, how is it possible that I can modify the expression of the diabetic condition by altering my diet? I mean, if I have Down syndrome, then you can't alter the manifestation of my Down syndrome by changing what I'm going to eat. Right? So if my condition really is genetic, then if my type 2 diabetes really is genetic, then how can I make a difference in it by doing anything else, by doing anything? I mean, nothing I'm aware of can change the color of my eyes, right? Internally, and I'm not talking about colored contact lenses, right? I mean, that's genetic. And see what happens to the MD. And watch them obfuscate and back up. They'll be backing up intellectually so aggressively you'll hear that beepity beep beep that happens when the mail truck backs up. Also, if you want to have fun with your MD, ask them to define health. Ask them to define health and watch them struggle intellectually to come up with something, and then they'll say, well, huff and puff, well, health, well, that's the absence of disease. And by the way, you don't have good health and you need 67 pharmaceutical medications. That's what you need. 67, Nurse, come on in here. We need to write 67 prescription medications, one for intellectual stupidity. And I'd like a psych evaluation immediately on this patient. Please, huff and puff. Right? So, really, just ask simple questions. In my book, The MD Emperor Has No Clothes, which you can get for $9, $10, $9.99, I think. And you can download it to your computer immediately if you want the softback version. We'll mail that to you. That's $20, right? Check out my website, drglidden.com. I have a chapter in there about cancer with 10 questions that every cancer patient needs to ask their oncologist. But I was thinking about this the other day. Quite frankly, it's 10 questions that every patient with a chronic disease needs to ask their doctor. Really, doctor, I have arthritis? You say, I need knee replacement surgery. Well, that's interesting. Are there any therapeutics? Is the knee replacement surgery going to cure my arthritis? Is it going to cure my arthritis? Well, if it's not going to cure it, why are you giving it to me? Are you telling me you don't know how to cure my disease? And how long can I expect the treatment to last? What are the side effects of the treatment? What are you going to do to manage the side effects of the treatment if the treatments ever do come up? Are the side effects curable, or am I going to have to live with them? What's going to happen to the quality of my life if I get any of these side effects? What's going to happen to the quality of my life if I don't get any of these side effects? How much money are you going to profit from this therapeutic intervention? How much money is the insurance company going to profit from this intervention? And how much money is the hospital going to profit from this intervention? And I'd like to speak to 5 patients who have had this condition that you've treated, all in my same age bracket. I want to see how they're doing 5 years after the fact. Now, if every patient of every MD asked these 10 questions about everything, politely, kindly, interestedly, in the presence of a witness and a recording device, most people would not undergo the therapeutics delivered by their doctor. They wouldn't. They wouldn't do it. Because most people have no idea that the therapeutics brought to the table by the MD do not attempt to cure the condition. They do not attempt to cure the condition. They attempt to manage the condition. They're loaded with side effects. It's a gigantic for-profit runaway juggernaut. And the MDs push this stuff down your throat with the subliminal message that it's their way or the highway. More's the pity, ladies and gentlemen, when you believe your medical doctor. Come on back. I'm Dr. Glidden, answering the phones after these messages. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Guess what? It's the luckiest day of your life. You've found your way to my radio show, and if you like the audio, you're going to love the video. Check out the live stream. We're streaming live video at thedrglidden.tv. thedrglidden show.tv. thedrglidden.tv. Check out the video stream. Check out the chat room. We have a chat room that's associated with this. Right now we have 66 people in the chat room from all over the world. Claude from Berlin is in the house. Roberta, Lionel Reeves, Bill Pasquale from Chicago. David in Winnipeg. Surrey, British Columbia is in the house. The Dominican Republic is here. Pennsylvania is here. Karen Carpenter's here. She's going to sing us a song from Beyond the Grave. Las Vegas is in the house. All over the United States, all over Canada. We've got people all over the world here. This is, I think, the most fun part of the radio show because it's free. It's free. And if you just join into the live chat, watch the video stream, then you're going to be in the room with right now 66 like-minded people from all over the world, and that beats a poke in the eye with a sharp stick. Donna from my favorite part of Canada, Alberta, is up next. Hey, Donna, thanks for the call. You are live.
Yes, I'm calling for a friend, And she had a gallbladder out a few months back, has been on Ultimate Enzymes and some of the Trop 90 Ultimate nutrients. Recently, within about the last 10 days, it's been very painful for her to swallow. She's actually on Percocet for the pain. She says it feels like the food goes down about 6 inches, and then it kind of gets stuck. It feels like something's being torn. She has profuse sweating all the time. She's booked for a barium enema, or a barium swallow, I guess. This Friday, the last time she couldn't tolerate it, her blood work is normal. Nancy, are you there?
I am.
This is the girl.
All right. Hey, Nancy. Dr. Glidden here. Thanks so much for the phone call. All right. So were any of these symptoms present before the gallbladder surgery?
Not this one, no. Well, I have a hiatus hernia that has bothered me for a lot of years, but it's never been this severe.
And when you had milder symptoms of a hiatal hernia, were they of the same ilk?
No.
So this is a completely different category of symptoms. You've never experienced this stuff before ever in your life, right?
No, and especially the sweating. I wake up just bathed in sweat.
Yeah, that's a symptom of an infectious process. And how recently did you have the blood work done?
Actually, it's just in the last 10 days, and everything came back excellent, and that's why I'm so confused.
Yeah, and when you had the blood work done, were you sweating in the middle of the night at that time, too?
Yes, and my blood pressure had spiked, and I had really severe leg pains.
Okay.
And they told me...
What did they tell you?
That the pain was either causing my blood pressure to go up or my blood pressure was causing the pain.
Oh, yeah, thank you very much, which basically means
they sent me home.
They have no idea, right? So, yeah,
no.
Isn't that just great? Okay, well, look, it's not my place nor my intention over the phone here to diagnose things, right? But I can give you my perspective on what's happening here, certainly.
Okay.
All right, so how old are you?
72.
And are you taking any prescription meds?
I take thyroid.
Okay, which one?
Oh.
Is it Synthroid?
Synthroid, yes.
Okay, and are you taking selenium? Are you taking Longevity's selenium as a standalone product?
No, I haven't.
And are you taking the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, the red or the orange powder?
No.
All right, so which Longevity products were you taking?
Majestic Earth Tropical.
Yeah, Tropical Plus. How much?
I've been taking, well, I've got a little shot glass here, 2 tablespoons 3 times a day.
Wow, very good. So you go through 3 bottles of that in 1 month?
I am.
Okay, great. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to look up the symptoms of an overdose of Synthroid. All right?
Okay.
I want you to look up the symptoms of an overdose of Synthroid. And here, because I think this is what you're having. I think that your body, now because it's nutrified with the supplements that you've been taking, like a wise, well-informed person, the nutritional supplements in your body, the vitamins, the minerals, the amino acids, and the essential fatty acids are making the Synthroid work better. So even though you're taking the same dose of the Synthroid, your body is reacting to it much more efficiently, and so I think you've overdosed with Synthroid. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, it seems reasonable, and I don't know what else.
I know, right? I mean, so, it's either that or a voodoo curse, right? I mean, right? Because, it's not hot flushes of menopause, I can tell you that. It's not an infectious disease, because if you had an infection big enough, bad enough, and bold enough to produce night sweats consistently at night, then your blood work would have popped. You can't have that without that.
Right.
So since those 2 things are not on the table, then the only other thing that's possible here is a drug reaction. And so I think that that's what it is. And this is something that I talk about all the time. Ben Fuchs talks about this all the time. Actually, Ben Fuchs is the only other person I've ever heard talk about this on the radio. But when you take a prescription medication, and remember, we're not against drugs, right? It's not the drug, it's how it's used. It's not the gun, it's how it's used. That's our position. So when you take a prescription medication, it works by using the stuff that your body is made out of, right? I mean, drugs don't work through pixie dust in your body. Drugs work by upregulating certain biochemical pathways, all of which are made from vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and essential fatty acids. So when you take a drug, it burns through your nutrient reserves, and the drug companies know this, and if they were, really humanitarian people, then they would put vitamins and minerals and essential fatty acids in with the drug to replace the stuff that the drug's using up, but they don't, because if they did, they'd sell less drugs, right? So oftentimes when people get on board with really high-quality, absorbable medical nutrition like this stuff you're taking is, and I got to tell you, this stuff is this is really, really good medical nutrition. This is not like anything you can get at the health food store, no kidding. This is like the Lamborghini, the Ferrari of medical nutrition supplements. It will often cause your drug that you're taking to be have a much more stronger, persistent effect. So the first thing that I would do is look that up. You can just do a Google search for that right now and see if what you're experiencing are the signs and symptoms of too much of that drug, and then call me back on the radio program tomorrow and tell me what happened.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you very much.
Well, you can thank me after it works. I appreciate it very much. Okay, great. You're welcome very much. Love Albertans. Love that part of Canada. Real down-to-earth, honest, hard-working, open-minded people. If everybody in the world was from Alberta, there'd be a lot less problems in the world. Let's go to L.A. right now and talk to Celeste. Hey, Celeste. Thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hi, Dr. Glidden. I have a 10-year-old, and he's taking the Cherry Men now in EFA, one for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But he's constantly, scratching his nose, itch allergy, and blowing his nose. It's clear what's coming out. It's not. It's clear. Is it something I can do for that?
Well, I think if he registers as a Democrat, it'll all go away.
I'll do it in a minute.
I just lost my entire Republican audience. They just turned off the station. They said, "What are you talking about, Glidden?"
Be strong.
So is this runny nose thing something that he's been dealing with his entire life, or is this just, like a new thing he's only had for a couple of weeks?
Just a few days. Just started 2 days ago. I have daycare, too, so I have kids in and out. And, of course, they come in with their little things.
Yeah, well, you know what you should do? There's a really excellent longevity product. It's called Pure Works Foaming Cleanser. Pure Works Foaming Cleanser. They've got it as a soap. It's like a liquid soap that you can use, put in the bathroom. It's in a little pump bottle. They have it in a spray. And they also have a little foam hand cleanser thing. And I would get the foam hand cleanser thing. I would get one of the soap things. I'd put the soap thing in the bathroom at the daycare. And I would put a little squirt of this on the hands of every kid that comes into daycare and have them wipe their, or wash it around in their hands, because that stuff, it's not alcohol based, it's oil based, it doesn't dry and crack out the skin, and it has a safe biochemical in it which kills viruses and bacteria. I mean, that stuff even kills the flesh-eating bacteria MRSA. It's really good stuff, and this is the biggest vector of disease propagation in daycares is hands, right? Because, the kids will pick their nose or they'll sneeze into their hands, and then, they touch a doorknob or they touch the crayon or whatever, and now another kid touches the doorknob or the crayon. So now, I don't know what the laws in your state are for having every kid in your daycare do that, and I don't know what the parents would think, but at least you can have your son do this or your daughter, whomever it is, and you can do it yourself. And it'll seriously knock down this vector. If this is, like a virus or a bacteria, then what we do is say, well, look, man, we need to support the immune system. How much does your son weigh? Is it your son or your daughter?
My son.
How much does he weigh?
4 pounds.
Yeah, I would give him 1 killer biotic 1 killer biotic twice a day with food. 1 killer biotic twice a day with food. And for the next little while, until this goes away completely, I would really restrict sugar. I mean, I wouldn't give him any sugar. No dessert, no candy, no popsicles, no nothing that's got sugar in it. Even orange juice. I wouldn't let him have anything that's got extra sugar in it until this goes away. And I would also give him protein with every meal, because guess what? Our immune systems are made from protein, and it's a smart idea to eat a high-protein diet when you're trying to support the structure and function of your immune system. And sugar, too much sugar, which is super easy to do in the Western diet, too much sugar puts a little piece of your immune system called a macrophage to sleep. Puts it to sleep, kind of, sort of. So, drinking orange juice when you're sick is one of the stupidest things anybody can do, right? It really is. So, and that's also why chicken soup is so good, because it's loaded with, Jewish penicillin, right? Which is, chicken. Chicken's a really easy to digest protein. So that's what I would do. Give him.
Good idea?
I'm sorry?
Is popcorn a good idea?
No, popcorn's not to help boost somebody's immune system, but as a snack. Popcorn if you popped it in an air popper, not cooked it in oil, if you pop it in an air popper and put butter and salt on it, absolutely, positively, no problem whatsoever. You know what my favorite recipe is? Air popped popcorn, wheat-free tamari, which is kind of like a soy sauce, butter, cayenne pepper, and brewer's yeast. Oh, my God. It tastes so good. Wow. Brewer's yeast, cayenne pepper, tamari, wheat-free tamari, and butter. Lots of butter. Check it out. You're the great.
Oh, wow.
Stick around, folks. More to come. Welcome back, everybody. Dr. Peter Glidden here, your steadfast advocate for health. Check out the live stream, the drgliddenshow.tv, the drgliddenshow.tv. Join the worldwide live chat. Let's stay in California and talk to Marcus. Hey, Marcus, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Hey, Dr. Glidden, I wanted to talk to you about my mom. She's got diabetes and arthritis. I think it's osteoarthritis.
Yeah.
And osteoporosis. We've got her on the Healthy Heart and Brain Pack, and then she's also taking Sweeties, but she takes 3 capsules a day, and I'm wondering if she needs to take more because her blood sugar levels fluctuating between 108 and 130. Can't get it lower than 108.
Yeah, okay. So, how much does she weigh?
About 128 pounds.
Yeah, so for 4 weeks, I'd give her 3 bottles. I'd give her 3 bottles, which is 12 a day. And the Sweeties is best to give between meals unless the meal does not have phytates in it. So you're familiar with the whole phytate thing, right?
Yeah, it's like in brown rice and peanuts and kale and all. I've got your 10 bad foods list.
Yeah, okay. Well, so there's the phytates are not on the bad list because phytates in and of themselves are not going to hurt you like acrylamide will, right, or like an oxidized oil will. But what a phytate does is it binds with minerals. So spinach and nuts and rice, I don't know if rice does, but beans do, coffee does. So if you're taking a mineral supplement into your body on top of a food that has phytates in it, you're not going to be absorbing as much as you think you are. And so remember, Marcus, with medical nutrition, the only time it fails is if you're not taking, the right Healthy Start pack, like you have a blood sugar issue and you're taking the Healthy Bone and Joint pack, or you're not taking enough, or you're not absorbing what you're taking. So to maximize absorption, of course, we have to eliminate wheat, barley, rye, and oats, and phytates. There's never any harm or foul at all in the first month or 2 with overdoing it with the secret sauce. And in this case, the secret sauce to optimize blood sugar metabolism is the Sweeties. So, yeah, man, I'd give her 12 a day, 4 and 4 for 4 weeks, and keep your fingers crossed.
Okay, very good. And then also about the osteoporosis, she's got she just started taking glucogel, and we've got her taking about 12 a day. Because she's got the 120 capsule bottles that last 30 days. But
no, that's a great dose. What I would do in that case is I'd give her extra calcium. I'd give her, if she could afford it, if it's in the budget, I'd give her 3 ounces of calcium a day.
Okay, and then awesome. And then I wanted to ask you to clarify some things about the 10 bad foods list, because there's another doctor that I listen to who talks about cruciferous vegetables and how they're good to help to lower estrogen in the body. So the sulfur combines with estrogen.
Yeah.
But then you guys advocate against it. And then I talked to Dr. Ben.
No, we don't advocate against it. We only advocate against cruciferous vegetables if you have an underactive thyroid.
Okay.
That's the only time I say no for cruciferous vegetables, because cruciferous vegetables downregulate the thyroid gland, right?
Right. Okay, and then one last question about the coconut oil, because Ben Fuchs, talks about the benefits of coconut oil, but then I hear you and Dr. Wallach saying that coconut oil should be eliminated from the diet.
Well, yeah, Ben is wrong and I'm right. Well, it's as simple as that, because here's the deal. The benefits that you get from coconut oil, you can get from the omega-3, the omega-6, the omega-9 essential fatty acids. So, if you're on board with the 90 essential nutrients, then there's no reason to take coconut oil. And with everything else, right, it becomes a cost-benefit thing. I mean, so what are the benefits I'm going to get from whatever I'm eating, and what's it going to cost me to eat whatever I'm eating? Coconut oil is the slowest of all the oils to oxidize, but it still oxidizes. And when you cook with it, it oxidizes even faster, and our whole thing here is get as far away from anything that's oxidized as is humanly possible, because, you don't want to eat that stuff even in small amounts. And if you're doing the 90 essential nutrients, there's no harm and no foul, and there's no even reason to consider any other type of essential fatty acid. That's the long and the short of it, Marcus. I appreciate your thoughts. I appreciate your intelligence. And guess what, folks? Hour 1 is up. Don't you worry, hour 2 right around the corner. Stick around.